No, it worked absolutely perfectly, but it does seem to say that they're playing a 15 to 17 one-no trump, so what do you make of him opening on a 13 count? Peter, have you got any information to add?
No, not directly. My printer is working hard for the moment. I'm just printing out the system card for East-West.
Gosh, what a wonderful idea. Why haven't I thought of that for the last, I don't know, almost 10 years, is it? I've been commentating on BBO. I'll do that too. Although the Fantoni-Nunes system is very unorthodox, with all their one-level bids promising at least 14 points, and them having to open either a weak no trump or some two-level bid on any hands that are worth an opening, but are say in the 11 to 13 range. Once you know that, it's pretty easy to follow what they do thereafter. Amazing, of course, on first glance that such a system can be sound. I expect you can all hear my printer clunking away in the background.
And among the written commentators we have Jay from Iceland, and I know that Jay is very familiar with the North-South system. His only problem is that they very frequently change small details in their system, and that he for sure don't know.
Well, the East-West scorecard says that 2 hearts is natural, so it's let me down on 2 basic things, which is their opening, their point count for opening 1 no trump, and the meaning of 2 of a major overweight trump. So it doesn't seem to match what they're playing at all, the scorecard that you get if you click on the Woolpert name on this panel. Obviously 2 hearts must show spades, but I mean, why does the convention card not say that? Basically they're playing the popular system in the US, where a 2-level response to 1 of a suit is game forcing, known as 2/1. That gives you a lot more bidding space, but it's not an easy system to play, as we've seen on several hands during this tournament, because you've got to make use of that bidding space. Both players have to be able to show somehow that they've either got extra values or haven't got extra values, and that's not easy. If the bidding starts, say, 1 heart, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, the guy bidding 2 hearts doesn't show a minimum because bidding was forcing to game. He can have extra values, and you've got to have ways of saying whether you have or not.
Let's see, how can you defeat this one? As I see, the only way to defeat it is to continue hearts now, force east to off. Then he will play the king of diamonds to yes, and now another heart will set up 2 spade tricks for south.
Yes, I see. Because South has got Ace Queen X, you need to lead towards the West trumps twice to pick up the Queen. And as Peter says, by forcing the dummy, there would only be 1 trump left to do that.
But not an easy defense. Remember, east hand is declared.
Good morning. I'm a little bit late. So if West wants to play a diamond up, North can't really take it, otherwise it risks for pitches. But if he doesn't take it, then that's a free diamond trick. So what do you think, Peter? David?
Yes, but diamond
Well, he doesn't
yes
really
and another heart.
it's not going to kill the defense. Yeah, if they can make 2 aces and 2 trump tricks.
But the way to make it, it's a little bit double dummy, but the way to make it is now to play a club to the jack, take the king of clubs, off another heart, and the ace of club and discard the diamond, so you only lose 1 heart and 2 spades.
Yeah, what happens to all the heart losers?
You can rock both of them. You have the entries now. Low clubs to the jack, king of clubs, heart ruff, ace of clubs, pitching the diamond loser, diamond ruff in hand, then ruffing the left heart. You don't care who is the trumps.
The reason it's double dummy is that not certain South going to have 3 spades, and if you don't need to for twice in spades, you don't need to risk the club finesse.
On this hand, as David points out, you can start swapping, say, the pointed suit aces. But of course the player is trying to make this, so when we think about other options, can he make it if the cards are lined differently? I agree that I really don't see
Right,
why
well,
that particularly needs to have the Queen of Clubs.
Well, he does know that South has opened 1 no trump, and that although North has doubled, he's already shown up with an ace-king, so that would make South sort of favourite to hold any other missing cards, including the black queens.
In the closed room, Smith because of a missed defense by Brighthurst. The start was heart and heart, diamond to the yes, another heart. And now declare Helgamo West took the king of diamond, discarded a heart, the jack of diamond, and here a fall from grace in south, he offed. Was over-offed, club to the S and a spade, and easily 10 tricks. If not just discard, then there are no way to make it.
That's the sort of mistake that I suspect experts would find most annoying, most niggling when they're turning her in their bed tonight. You get a complete screw up. Well, these things happen, and of course it's annoying, and that's humanity. A super expert shouldn't really make bad mistakes, but it's those ones where a slight technical failing and you know really that you shouldn't have roughed, and you just wonder why you did, and if you're adrift in the match, it can be very aggravating. Do you think that the fact that North has continued with a second heart to force the dummy gives declarer any clue that the defence know that there may be finessable honours in the south hand and that they're trying to prevent finesses? In other words, to tell him that trump's a 3-1?
That could be the case. In the closer, the hand was played from west, where North started with the King of Hearts and continued hearts. But in some way it was easier for North here because he could see the running diamond in dummy. But after the King of Hearts, seeing the east hand, it could be tempting to switch to a club and play partner for the King of Clubs.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was just thinking. It's really an exciting moment in the history of bridge to see new powerful players coming through in the US. They've had some tested for decades and performed miracles for so long, not only in world events but also in the major NABC events, 4 of them a year over there. How on earth they've got such an incredible record of winning so many of those, I have no idea. But it is exciting when the new generation comes through. And not only did they do wonderfully well in their trials, just playing in a team of 4, as Peter reminded us yesterday, but they're showing very strongly in the Bermuda Bowl itself.
But it's so unlucky to go both ways for the Queen of Clubs. Now he can also play club to the King and run the Jack. If North didn't cover, then he have a hard off return for the Ace of Club and discarding the Diamond loser. So a lot of ways to go down here.
Well, it's way against the odds to play North for the Queen of Clubs. Yes, he has guessed it right after the opening bid. That's the natural way to play.
That's a really cool play to see, single dummy. Playing the King of Diamonds and possibly hoping for a defensive error, which you're very unlikely to get. Seems reasonable, but great, really, really good. hard work push.
Yeah, this is just the sort of deal that we look for when we set our alarm clock so early and tune in to watch a world-class match. Very interesting play at both tables. And if we were to look at the scorecard and think, oh, that was a flat board, I won't bother looking at that one. If you were going through the view graph records, you'd have missed some pretty interesting play. Although the contract was doubled, so the eye might be drawn to the 790s.
For sure I'll make a note, because I have to get some boards for my column. I have a weekly column with 2 boards every week, so this one could be a candidate.
Yes, I think it makes very good material when something interesting happens at both tables, and as I mentioned yesterday, I'm restricted to rather few hands in my write-up of this championship in English bridge, so I have to look for the very, very best of deals with plenty of interest.
Well, David, that single set, that second set against Monaco, England-Monaco, that 1/16 board was enough to write a whole book about.
That's right, and this morning I was looking at the first set as well, the one I missed when England fell 51-0 behind after 6 boards. And in fact it turned out in the remaining 90 boards of the match it was almost exactly level. They managed to match the mighty Monaco team and just lose by the number of imps that they ditched in the first 6 boards. Not that they did anything stupid, but I mean, Helgamo Helnest did a wonderful grand slam with Helgamo bidding the 7th heart on it with void heart support facing a solid suit. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing really that bad in all the imps being lost, but it just shows how that can happen, as we all know.
I really enjoyed watching Helgamo and Helnest. They play a very simple system, but they show a great deal of trust in each other. For instance, you pointed to the hand where they correctly picked 6 hearts in the 6-0 fit, breaking Burns' law, but Ace, King, Queen, Jack, 10, 6. This is perhaps an option to break Burns' law when you can, and disdaining the fairly strong 4-4 club fit, which fails in a terrible break.
Yes, many, many years ago I did write a book with Helgamo, and I was just staggered to think I could fill a whole book with his brilliances. I sort of thought at the time, wow, if I wrote a book about my own great plays, it would only be about 2 pages long. So it is absolutely amazing the positions some of these world-class players can see. What surprised me when I was sort of looking at all the deals that he had played up to that time was not only that their bidding looked pretty simple and straightforward with not many conventions, but they seemed to play by today's standards a very, very simple system of defensive signals. In particular, they seemed to play a lot of attitude signals when most of the pairs in England at that time were switching in a big way towards count signals. And I was just surprised they could sort of win world championships and so on with such simple methods, but it's great for us to be able to watch people who are playing fairly simple systems and managing to conquer the world with them. North
So
two
West
hearts,
here
is
has-
it?
Sorry, David, go ahead.
Nothing special. Just going to point out that it's a good idea to keep your system simple and play the same responses to a one no-trump overcall as you do to a one no-trump opening. And here Fantoni has made a standard transfer bid of 2 hearts. And the main benefit of transfers, as we know, is that because partner have to bid spades, you get 2 bites at the cherry. If you've got enough to go on and investigate a game, a slam, or to make a game try, you get a second bid, and you also place the contract in the strong hand.
I was just going to comment that you notice that West led twice from 3 low and always led third best. It's very popular in U.S. expert circles to lead third and low, not promising an honor in the suit. So whenever you see a 3-card suit that they happen to lead from, they'll always, unless it's an honor combination, they'll lead low. You were just commenting that Helga Mohelnas, like attitude leads, in the U.S., in particular for leads, count is quite popular.
As well as that, it seems that most Scandinavian players prefer 3rd and 5th leads to 4th best. Can you tell us anything about that, Peter?
Yeah, in Denmark it's almost 50-50 for 3rd, 5th, and 2nd, 4th. Yes, so I can't tell much. I prefer myself to lead low 2, 4, and of course also from 6 card suits you're the lowest. If you lead 4th highest in the 6 card suit, it takes ages before a partner finds out that you don't have 5 but 6 cards in the suit.
So,
here.
in the audience, in the written commentary, is going to carefully explain what Antonio Nunes plays. He's an expert on the system. Phil Jacobs recently wrote a book describing this, and it has actually very recently won an award, I think the IBPA Best Book of the Year. So one club here is 14 plus with clubs all down. South, well, passes, you can see the 10, and West makes a fairly aggressive 2 diamond bid here.
Yes, the jump response shows what's described usually as about 8 to 10 points. It's non-forcing. And as Jan hinted, many players would only bid 1 diamond on that hand because a minor suit game is a long way away. If you had a 5-card major, you would probably would have bid hearts on that sort of hand. But the king of clubs is a doubtful value, and I think, much as I favour these jump bids to let partner know that you've got a little something, even I would only have bid 1 diamond on that hand.
Make it 1.5 diamond for me.
I see. Very accurate bidding. And of course they have got into a game here on less than the normal requirements. Seeing as Declarer can take advantage of restricted choice only when the singleton diamond honor lies with South, we can expect him to begin by playing the king of diamonds on the suit. And if South drops an honor, maybe then to finesse the 10 that restricted choice would recommend. No point in playing the ace first, really.
Note that on this hand, see the power of these 2 major suit 10s. I find that in no trumpy or general hand evaluation, people often forget about the 10s and 9s, but just look at this hand and the amount of protection provided by those hands. You happen not to really need the spade one, but if West had, for instance, had too low instead of Jack third, that hand provides just a little bit of safety for you to go about your business. Declarers should make, although it's always a risk commentating that they'll make it, but on this hand, with promising at least 14 high card points, bean counters around the world will be able to see how to make this contract. Big cards win, but you know that North has all the aces.
Yes, perhaps there was more of a problem in the bidding than the play to reach the game, because if West does only one diamond, maybe I don't think North would have enough to bid if he'd. Would he have enough to double for takeout if he's already promised 14 points? He hasn't got much above that. I suppose he might double anyway. Got both majors doubling one diamond for takeout. And regardless of that, then East is not facing, when he's not facing a jump response, so then he's not going to think too much of his chances of making game, perhaps.
Note that if one clubs was just a strong no trumpy type of hand, East is perhaps less concerned with the clubsters. How many clubs does one club promise? Is it 2, 3, 1?
If North don't double, then after one club double pass, one diamond pass, East can bid 2 diamonds now and show extra values. And now I think West will come to life with a 2-no followed by a 3-no.
Yes, that's a little bit borderline, because some people that raise doesn't show much in terms of extra values, more of a fit. Let's look now at the bidding at the other table, where North opened a no trump. East made a penalty double, which not everyone plays against a strong no trump, to pull it cast in by West, and that was a big 1100 picked out of the air. A very, very valuable one, because you don't necessarily expect your side to even be able to subtract the value of a game from it on this number of points, although, as we see, the Americans have done well to bid 3 no trumps. But I mean, even assuming they do make it, that 1100 is going to mean a huge number in the minus column.
So you were saying earlier, David, that once you play the same kind of systems over 1-0 trump overcall as over a 1-0 trump opening, but looking at the other way, say over their 1-0 trump opening, you have choices about what to choose. Now, if you don't like penalty doubles over a strong no trump, that's fine, and for consistency, probably you should never play it. But particularly at imps, when you are white and they're red, so that the colors are favorable for you, you should seriously consider keeping the penalty double, at least in the eighth, because the upside is tremendous, whereas there's very little downside. You can just, if you're going to compete, you're going to compete anyway, and probably bid one more than you have. But when you actually have the goods, like in this hand, when they're vulnerable and you are not, the price of your possible game is only 400 or so, but the possible penalty is tremendous. I, of course, am a big, staunch advocate of the penalty double of strong no trumps, because people open on 13, 14, whatever, especially at higher level bridge.
Right. Well, I can see the good point you're making, that the vulnerability may alter the odds a little bit, but I still don't like the idea of penalty doubles against strong no trumps, and I'm always surprised when I see people playing them. It's true that some big names do use that method, including the East-West at the other table. But I mean, I can't see that you can expect to make a lot of big numbers out of doubling a strong no trump, and you're going to get a lot of bad boards as well when your partner's got nothing and you've got nowhere to go on a flat hand. You may run into a redouble, for example. So I think it's a dangerous method to play. What do you think, Peter?
I'm absolutely there. Not that I usually give it down to you. In this case, 100% behind you.
I just had an interesting message from a kibitzer saying that Larry Cohen is on record that a penalty double of a strong no trump is, quotes, one of the worst bids in bridge. Well, he may be going a bit other than a Peter or I would.
So although it looks possibly normal to continue diamonds, West has very few edges to his hand, and so he has choices about which suit to play up. Because if counting tricks, now this is really important, he already has one club, he's going to have to assume that the diamonds come in, that's 5. I know if you assume the diamonds come in, you have to have an entry to your hand. They've already split 1-1 so far, so you will have a diamond entry. You don't really want the opponent's playing clubs, except it's from the north hand, so but it's pretty harmless to start, to continue diamonds here, and to set up your tricks later. What do you think? Because you have that late.
Well, without any detailed analysis, I don't see what you lose by playing a heart. You know that the ace is on side. I don't know if it helps or not, but I don't know why it should be better to play on diamonds. What's your idea behind that?
Oh, it's just that...
And he makes the natural...
Unless North has been very, very subtle, I don't think it's possible that the diamonds aren't breaking with Queen-Jack doubleston on side, because no one was going to drop, give up the whole suit, dropping the queen from Queen-Jack third, and you can't afford South to have the Jack anyway.
Yes, of course the diamond position is known, but...
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, it's not clear to me, but yeah, for sure playing a trick up through the ace holder is good.
What did you prefer, the doubles mean over strong no trump, David? I think I have told you the Polish way, where double over strong no trump is a 5-card minor and a 4-card major. The hand which you can't describe any other way.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's one good method, but we're playing the double shows a major two-suiter. It doesn't really matter. The point is that it's pretty dubious, as I see it, the value of a penny double, and with the value extra you're getting by playing either the poke method or showing the majors is adding to that imbalance. Well, we can see that de Clare has got 2 spades, 1 heart, and 5 diamonds, and 1 club. 2, 3, 4 diamonds, 7, 8. Where's his 9th trick coming from?
Count again. 5 diamonds, 2 spades, 1 club and 1 heart.
Yes. 5 diamonds, 1 heart, 2 spades and 1 club, that's right. Can he do any better than that? Can he somehow end play north?
Yes, it's on the last, I think, on the fifth diamond, North has to pitch either his spade trick or his hard exit or his club exit. So he's going to be end plate in hearts, I think.
No, he can't, because the fifth trick, last trick will take on the west hand, and west only have clubs left.
Yeah, they'll make 3 aces and the 9 of spades, won't they?
Or 2 club tricks. Take from Tony now. We'll keep the contract to 9 tricks. Other cards will give the clear 10 tricks.
Ah, good point.
On the first round of hearts, we can be sure that South will have given a count signal. We waste time to give any other sort of signal, so Fantoni very likely knows the declarer has a singleton heart.
And remember that North is, although doubtful in this hand, is still trying to beat it, in which case, despite declarer's play, he has to play his partner for the jack of spades. And that's the only conceivable way to beat the contract. And it happens to be the loss minimizing as well. But a big pickup for North-South.
Rather a shame to do so well in the bidding, to detect that 3 no trumps is going to be good on just a 23 count, and then to make the contracts, and then to write 12 in the minus column.
You were mentioning, David, earlier about taking notes about good things or interesting things they've done. At one point I was thinking to myself, actually what really good bridge things have I actually done? I couldn't come up with any. You'll notice at this level, just East-West did very well to bid 3 no trumps, and that's lose 12. Whereas, so playing against such good players, you need to consistently do good things, and a lot of them won't give you a benefit, or will only keep you level with the opponent, but if you keep doing them, that gives you a chance to win. I was watching these guys, the US team play the Dutch in the round robin, and the Dutch were playing quite firmly and got bumped. So the Dutch pair did good things, but not the other US teams did a few more.
This rebid of 2 no trumps shows 18 or 19 because it's assumed that if you've got 17 on a balanced hand, you will have opened a strong trump. Having said that, we did see Wolpert open 1 no trump on 13, contrary to what it says on their card, so I'm still a little bit in the dark as to if they are playing the strong no trump that we would expect them to be playing. Obvious from the fact that Wolpert has raised on just a 6 count that West does show a very strong hand. I mean, years ago in England you could jump to 2 no trumps on just a 17 count, which wasn't a very good method at all. Best idea is to either play a weak no trump 12 to 14 and rebid 1 no trump on 15-17, keeping the 2-point range, and the jump rebid can then be to show an 8, or to play the strong no trump, of course, and to rebid in no trumps at the minimum level on 12-14, which is what most of the world plays. Get a lot of US commentators on BBO saying, well, how on earth can England compete at the world level playing ACOL? And maybe they can, maybe they can't, but the fact is that out to play all the time. They play much more like a standard American system. A lot of them play 2/1. And they don't play the weak no trump typically.
So a very good lead by North, and declare these 9 tricks with the pick up the king clubs on side. Otherwise, there's no hope.
I've just been out in the other 5 matches to look at board 21. And the most normal result over the field is 1-0 by North, passed out, down 300, one down 400, 2 tables playing east-west in diamonds, 2 and 3 diamonds making. Only Wozniak managed to beat 3-0 on the hand. At another 2 tables, North-South was caught for 800.
How many points did North have? He had a strong no trump, didn't he? So that shows that several pairs are playing penalty doubles, and as Ewan likes to do.
I'm not sure of that. When 4 tables was allowed to play 1-0, and pairs playing in diamond, 2 tables playing in diamond east-west, we can't be sure that the 2 tables who caught North-South that were doubling 1-0. It could be other openings, a strong club opening, whatever.
Just to add to that, the table that got caught for 800 and 2 hearts was after a run-out sequence of 1-0 trump doubles on power. The Italian side hit 1-0 trump.
So there was just 1 800. So 4 tables weren't playing it and allowed 1-0 trump to stand, and 2 did, and in fact on this hand picked up a really big penalty. And the other 2 played in 2 diamonds, presumably after 1 club opening. Because Fantone play all one of the suit bids of 14 up, they do have to play the weak no trump to mop up the huge number of hands. In fact, an even greater number of hands than those who normally do play the weak no trump, because when they have certain 5-4-2-2 shapes, they have to open 1 no trump on that, seeing as no other bid available with all the 1 of the suit bids already consumed.
With both majors, North-South will open one of the longer major, even with the weaker hand.
Yes, that's an understandable addition to their general principles, because with both majors, the chance of fit in a major.
And also with the 5-4 shape, it sometimes compensates a little bit for the lack of high card points. Especially if you're 5-4-3-1, it's very powerful. As long as you play in your suit.
So many people do regard Fantoni Nunes as the top pair in the world. I think they may well be ranked that according to the WBF master points. But their wonderful system that they wield so effectively occasionally doesn't pay off, and there was a famous board in the match against England where Nunes did not have 14 points. He had only 13 points, so he had to advance on it. Passed out with a 9 count opposite, and at the other table the England pair, Bakshi and Gold, managed to bid and make 6 diamonds, 15 in swing. That was part of the interesting second set of the quarterfinals that Johan mentioned at the start.
You may wonder why we are talking so much about other things than the board on the screen, but the reason is that as the card lie, 3-0 is no problem for the player. So we can't use a lot of words on this board. There will come another more interesting boards, and then for sure, I promise you, we will keep concentrated on what's going on the screen.
So on this hand, I mean, we see that the card's live very clever, but at the defense, you're still trying to beat 3-0 trumps. So what tricks that you hope? You have this heart trick. You need partner to have a club, I think. And you need partner to have an entry once you set up the clubs, which you hope is going to be a spade. But if that's the case, then South should have the clubs. So there's just about room for West to hold the king of spades. Now East knows that there's no defense.
The shape of the north hand, if not the honour location, reminds me of the day where there was a trump opening and North had 2-3 shape in the majors. So he decided to bid 5-card Stayman, which he could do with a response of just 2 clubs in his system, in case there was a 5-3 for his card major. And that proved quite disastrous because there was a lead directing double of 2 clubs and 3-no trumps. On the particular North hand here, North so much in the minors in particular that it would looking too much to start fiddling around looking for a 5-3 heart fit. Much better to go straight to 3-no trumps. A lot of hands not using Stayman, whether it's 5-card Stayman or otherwise, and give away less information direct.
Absolutely, I agree. And invitational hands, you just don't want to give the opponent information that you limited. They start leading passively, which hurts you. If your hand looks plausibly like, whatever technical gains about by being accurate with judgment or finding major fit or whatever, all of that, you don't want trump, 3 trumps. Just the lack of clarity and pressure on the defense of having did 3-no trumps and being in 3-no trumps, what technical matters of some slow approach or getting out in 2-no trumps or getting 2 whatever. If you can be in 3-no trumps, be in 3-no trumps.
How do you like that 1-0 opening? I know it's very common to say it's open, 1-0 with a 5-card lead, but total empty in both straight suits. I don't like it.
I think it's much more popular in the U.S. There are this debate has gone on for a long time, and I think, say, for instance, the Italians are real holdouts. There are one of the Dutch pairs who charge out the club, in which case they will dodge in one measure because they have a game force relay. But for more standard methods, this would suit. It would be a lot more preemptive, and you have spades by opening trump if this were the heart suit. But having spades, it can actually be very powerful to open one spade. So on this topic. But one trump is a good spot here.
Well, for many systems, you are basically forced to open 1-no trump when you've got a 5-card major 5-8 on a run into rebid problems. When you've got to run about 16 points, your partner may have 8, 9, something like that. You've got to be able to detect that you've got game values, and unless you're playing fancy methods after a spade and no trump, which a lot of pairs do, using 2 clubs as perhaps the GABSI convention or some form of that, then you're just in big trouble. So rather than open a spade and hope to survive, I think it is better to open 1-no trump, and all pairs that play that method will be playing some version of 5-card puppet Stayman, either via 2 clubs or for some of them via 3 clubs to ask for a 5-card major.
For the other pair, play a very basic 5-card major system, and it's worth watching whatever treatment they do pick, which are supposedly non-standard. Because otherwise it's very, very simple. In particular on their WBF cards, opening bids or sequences that may need defense, they happily write down none.
So far as I recall from commentating on these great new young players representing the USA, their age is around about 28, 29 in general. So that's pretty wonderful to be playing at this level at that age.
So after a tough fight, Nunes and Fantoni gained 1 imp. But still all the imps in 1 column.
The semi-finals and finals are, they're all of 96 boards, are they? It doesn't get any longer?
No, 96, all the way out. Only in the World Bridge games, we have seen that the final in the Open is up to 120.
'96 is a pretty long span. You're really pushing it if the second best team can manage to win over such a long match as that. Some of the transnational events, so far as I recall, there's just 32 board matches, so it's a tremendous gamble, really. You could easily lose a 32 board match to almost anyone at that level.
So 2 clubs here was showing both majors, and usually 2 diamonds here asks for opponents to pick the better major. I think this slow route, correcting 2 hearts and 2 spades, shows a better hand, because East would have to bid 2 diamonds and pass with nothing, but it gives West another opportunity to bid on if they're interested. For instance, East is quite happy if West is 5-4 in the majors, rather than 4-5. So this shows a sequence, an invitational sequence in spades, is my imagination.
Does that mean that he's planning to raise if West does bid 2 spades over it?
I mean, I would. I mean, 2 clubs should show at least 5-4, and partner is vulnerable, and perhaps it's unlimited. Except for the failure to make a penalty double. So swap the spade and heart suit, and yeah, you have some play, and West could have a little bit more even. I think it's just a mild invite. If partner has, for instance, additional strength, maybe additional shape, West could easily be 5-5 in the majors, for instance, in which case they are likely to accept. But, like always, the slow route, it allows South to make a lead directing double to push a diamond through, although it will be fairly clear on this dummy that this is the right thing to do. As Jay is commenting in the written commentary, the 6 of clubs is a high card in context, saying I don't like the suit.
As I remember, North-South are playing some strange lead, where the lead either showed a weak 3 card or a good 4 card suit.
Excellent. It stays either odd without an honor, or 4 cards, i.e. even with an honor. Very interesting.
It's called Slavinsky leads, and now we have our expert, my great guru among the written commentators, Al Hollander, have joined us.
I remember back in the time when I was playing a lot of club bridge, some inexperienced players would put on their cards when describing their signalling methods that what a high-low meant, and they would say something like, higher than a 6 counts as a high card, less than a 6 counts as a low card, and the 6 is neutral. Well, of course, that's pretty absurd, because you can only signal with the cards you've got. If your 2 cards are 9-7, then if you want to play a low card, you just got to reach for the 7. I mean, it's true, you can sort of look very sort of anguished and say, oh dear, you know, what can I play here, and play a reluctant 7 to let partner know that you're apologising it's such a high one. But I mean, it's absurd to say that cards in a particular range will be high or low. You just your partner's duty is to look and see what cards he has in his own hand, which ones are visible in the dummy, and then he knows which spot cards are missing and can work out which spot cards are missing between the 2 closed hands, and therefore that your card is probably your lowest. And the fact that it's not an exact science is exactly why we've mentioned more than once during this tournament that declarer can do good work in hiding lower spot cards from his own hand to make what is in fact a lowest card look as if it might be the start of a high-low. Remember, we had one guy at the, I shouldn't speak ill of the dead since he was quite an old guy and he's no longer with us, but anyway, whenever he made a suit preference signal, he wouldn't just lightly put the card on the table. He would sort of press his thumb in it and push it forward until it was almost under his partner's nose. And that was his style of signaling. Kibitzers are sending me quite a number of amusing stories of characters that they know and how their various mannerisms. Of course, that's not allowed in the game, but it's sort of part of the amusing folklore of all the people that we've ever played against.
When I'm playing, I try to keep as calm and steady as possible. It was quite funny. The other day, I was playing with my friend Mike Tad from Wales, and I led at the 10 of spades, and Mike has excellent table feel. He felt for sure I had a singleton, so he took his ace and gave me a rough, and of course I didn't. And he was very surprised later when he said, "Oh man, Ewan, I really thought you had a singleton. And I'm really good at table feel."
Yes, that's another area. You lead a singleton, partner wins, and then you get out a trump from your hand to let him know that you're expecting a return of the suit that you can ruff. Of course, that's all. We all know that's sort of cheating, cheating basically. Well, it is cheating. Let's not beat about the bush. And although players at this level are unbelievably ethical because they just cannot tolerate the thought that the word would get round in expert circles that they were anything other than that. In fact, ethics tend to be at their very highest, the better the level of the game. Even so, they have screens across the table to not necessarily to prevent people from giving unauthorized information, but just to avoid anyone thinking that it could possibly be being done.
Yes, Cognac has to duck this one, and now South has off. Very well done.
And I play here a kind of
But West can just discard the Queen of Hearts.
I very nicely played to make only 2 and still losing it.
The term used to describe North's predicament is that he was trump-bound. It's not obvious what that means just from the words, but it means you've got too many trumps and you're forced to ruff when you don't want to. Well, of course, it's always worth watching the top players in the world play, but I don't think we've really been helped by the great dealer so far. Of course, the boards have been reasonable, and the world's top players can make any old deal look more interesting than it would otherwise be. But I think we all regard ourselves as due another thunderous, spectacular board of some sort, just if only to wake us all up.
I was wondering if I was just being jaded, but it did seem to me that the round robin was generally very lots of fireworks, lots of swingy boards, and that since the qualifying stages, non-qualifying stages rather, it's been a little bit quiet, except for that wonderful set, the second set in the previous round.
Well, Monaco would say that
sorry. I know that there's a disciplined lack of a takeout double here of one spade. The hand isn't good enough to force to the 2 level. Although they've missed a reasonable 2 hearts.
Well, I've noticed for many years watching on BBO how unbelievably free responders are with their negative doubles, and I think most people would have doubled on that hand. Sometimes I think, wow, they're pushing the bidding up to the 2 level on that rubbish. But I'm not sure that Woolpert's action will be followed at the other tables if that's how it starts. When you're short in spades, it's really up to you to contest the bidding, because you're rather expecting, if South can't find a pass and it runs back to your partner, it's unlikely he'll be able to protect, because he'll be marked with some spade length, as is the case here. And really you don't want to let them be playing at the 1 level when you've got a 4-4 fit somewhere and near enough half the points in the pack.
Helge Mohelnes.
By Helge Mohelnes at the other table, who opened the West hand 1 heart. 4-card majors in 3rd seat. You can tolerate either major, you like a heart lead, all that good stuff, and that allows his partner to compete to 2 hearts.
It is now only in 3rd seat. The opening pattern is 5-card spade, 4-card heart, 4-card diamond, and 3-card club. So they open 1 heart on 4 card in all seats.
Oh, interesting.
You see that West opened a club, and club players might think, oh well, I've got ace to 3 in partner suit, I'll attack that, but that's not a good idea. Leading from ace high suits is you have to lead the ace, and that's very, very likely to promote whatever honours declarer's side has. Just because your partner's opened the suit is not necessarily meaning that you should attack it and give away a trick. It's slightly safer in a major where you expect your partner to have 5 cards, but for a 1 club opening that would be quite an awful lead. With regard to the alternative of leading from a jack, which people for decades have thought was just the lead a beginner would make, in fact a computer simulation has shown recently that leading from a jack is not such a bad lead as all that. And it rarely gives away a trick, contrary to what people have thought for ages. It's almost as safe as leading from a 10 off from spot cards. Leading from a king is very likely to give a trick, and not quite so bad, but leading from a queen is the same. Leading from a jack is relatively safe.
Note that this hand is proof of not touching clubs. If he says laid down the clubs, really easy for declarers to take 2 tricks, but now declarer can only take 1 trick in the club suits.
But now he has secured 7 tricks, and 7 tricks is 5 imps for Monaco.
Somewhat similar to the previous board, however, note that West can be end played with the club, Oh, sorry, he can rough. Sorry. It's not the same. I'm sorry. He can rough. He can just rough the diamond.
But as we see, only 16 imps here in the match between Poland and Italy. They have managed to create swings of 41 imps on these boards. I haven't studied what's going on, but it's quite amazing with so many imps on this board, which here, of course, after high level bricks, have been so many flat boards.
Al Hollander was commenting to me that there was a set where the total imp score was 6-3, which I think was less than the border match scoring. Italy was one of those teams for that match.
When we get scorecards with a completely blank column on one side or the other, we start wondering what the odds are that the successful team can complete the session without losing a single imp. And if the boards are flat, it has happened more than once that people end up not scoring a single imp even over 16 boards. For all categories, the records in this sort of matter are always much higher than you would ever expect. Now, this is very similar to the hand where Nunes played in 2 hearts when the England pair bid 6 diamonds. He's had to open a 13 count, 2 hearts, because 1 heart would show 14 points. And there is some risk that if your partner doesn't have a heart fit and not many points, that you can miss a big contract in one of the other suits. It's not to say their system is unsound, but all systems have weak areas in it. For example, the precision club, which uses a strong club opening, is a bit weak when they have to open 2 clubs on a moderate opening bid hand with long clubs. They've lost the whole of the 1 level. And this is a potential weak link in the Fantoni-Nunes system. Not here though, because North has a good hand and then they found the heart fit immediately.
So the 3-spade bid, we can see that it can go for quite a large number. I think it can be down 3. There's no entry to take the spade finesse. Maybe it'll be down 2. 4 spades will be down 3. But it will prevent 6 hearts because of the spade lead. We can see that on the diamond finesse, 6 no trumps has no chance still. Oh no, wait, 6 no trumps will make from the north side, but it's not nearly as good as a bad lead allowing 6 hearts to make.
I know it's impossible, but as you can see, 6 heart by North is a fantastic good slam.
There may be a swing of forward as there are 6 no trumps from north as on the table after east had doubled 4 spades.
So whatever the negative impacts of opening 2 hearts on something, on some hands, have been in the past, here North benefits from knowing have 14 points. So although on hearing an opening bid values with hearts, he would normally be thinking that his slam chances were fairly rosy, here he has to bear in mind that his partner cannot have 14, that he's had a 3 spade bid over his king, and that West is going to be on lead. So that makes things pretty dubious as far as slams are concerned. He expects that the ace of spades is missing and has got no reason to think that the diamonds are going to run. So that sort of puts 6 no trumps into the question mark. His initial response of 2 spades will be the familiar relay type that most of us play facing the normal weak 2. You can either bid 2 no trumps, or some people use 2 spades over 2 hearts. They may have different responses, of course. So he will what South's pass and his subsequent 4 hearts means. Nevertheless, he's made 1 try.
Historically speaking, the Italians have always had cubiting sequences. So here in the text commentaries, are showing key cards. This could be a bit of a...
At the other table, North played in trumps. Card ending, bung with his jack of diamonds, chose instead to exit with a spade, hoping that East had got 2 diamonds and the bare ace of spades left, and East cashed the 10 of spades to set it.
Going line of the heart, a disc, 3 of spades, 7 of spades, jack of spades, queen of spades. So the Clare was a little bit, I don't think, say he should be, but he was.
Wow, yeah, I see. Well, that was an example of what we've been pointing out so many times. Deceptive cards. Many people think it's not worth bothering, it'll never work, you'll never all in, but it is going to work some of the time. Every time you give Declare a guess, he has the opportunity to go wrong. So that was well done by East at the...
And it's so powerful psychologically. You'll be known as a wily defender, and then when you are straight and narrow, you might go wrong thinking sorts of that. But as you say, if he played up the line, I think Declare would have got it right.
Right, now I'm going to point out something important about this bidding. You see, when North Q bids 4 spades on the end, would double on the East cards to let partner know they want a spade to lead. Now South can pass, and North is able to read with the ace without a king. That would have stopped them at least bidding 6 hearts with 2 top spade losers. East is already expecting a spade lead when he's bid 3 spades, for heaven's sake. He's got no need to double, and the fact that he didn't double meant now that Nunes had to guess whether it was the ace or king of spades that went down, and it turned out to be the king. So that's an important lesson on not making unnecessary lead directing doubles, which will help the other side with their bidding.
Some pairs even have, that's in the convention, If each double 4 spades here, for some pairs it means partner, don't lead spade.
Obviously playing transfer bids over the intervention, and we all know how well transfer bids work, so it's not surprising recently that players have started using them in a lot of different situations. For example, you can use them when responding to an overcall, and the main advantage you get there is that you get what's called 2 bites at the cherry. You make the transfer, if partner honours it, you get another chance to bid.
Bit of a cloud, huh? The clever under lead not working this time.
Well, it seems that since spades has been agreed, 3 no trumps without a diamond stopper could only be some sort of slam try, but if it were, that north hand is pretty good. Rotten shape, but ace queen of trumps and 18 points, source of tricks in clubs, so it's just as well Fantoni, if it was any sort of slam try, didn't take it seriously.
For sure he downgraded.
Oh, so I had this discussion with David before. I would be looking at 3 low diamonds and thinking, very nice holding. If partner has a singleton, we could be on our way.
But with a king of diamond in front of the diamond overcall, for sure he downgraded his king of diamond.
Right. If the king of diamonds with the king, where the heart honor is dead, much better. Sorry, not that side. He said the lad is dead, and that did play the king.
Well, all of that is true, but it just doesn't seem that South has got enough to make such an offer with no aces and no shortage. Doesn't seem much of a hand to me. He's got Jack 1 in the suit that's been overcalled. Looks like a pretty tough hand.
No, I agree, and 3 spades is described as only invitational, so it was even non-forcing.
May seem surprising that East has underled the ace of diamonds, but the opponent's bidding was so strong, North jumping to 3 spades and South apparently hinting at a possible slam, that he thought he needed he would need an absolute snipe to bid the game. So he just hoped his partner would have, say, King Doubleton of diamonds, and they could take King Ace and a ruff, and then the Ace of Hearts for the setting trick. He really needed something fairly desperate to beat the game. I saw it. Some kibitzer sent me a very nice note yesterday saying that he enjoyed voice commentary commentary so much that he listened to it on his headphones walking to work in London through Hyde Park, even though he couldn't see any of the hands at all. He just listened to the sound of it just as a sort of pleasant way of enjoying the walk through Hyde Park on his way to work. That's very nice of him.
Okay, then we are creating a fan group, David. I hope it will pay off.
Well, what do you mean pay off? We don't get a cent out of it, obviously. No, it might get another 20 kibitzers to the next session. That's what we're hoping for. I mean, this is such a treat, not only for the kibitzers, but obviously even more so for the commentators to be able to watch these wonderful finals of the World Championship actually happen. It's really good, and I think it was. I think it may have been Yuan who recommended that people should tell fellow players at their local clubs that this service was available so they can enjoy it too. Because obviously there are lots of people who would just love to watch, say, the final of a World Championship for absolutely nothing on their computer screen.
But today there are so many broadcasts from various tournaments. Even from holiday tournaments, but a lot from national championships all around the world. And the number of commentators is still limited. And we can't work all day, all week as commentators. So the operators are paid, the tournament directors are paid. So just a small fee for the commentators, I think that would be reasonable. Do you think I'm totally wrong, David?
Well, I think so, yeah. I mean, I can't see that'll ever happen. It's more likely they would suddenly think they needed to charge the kibitzers to watch, which who could say that would be unreasonable for the service they provide. Always amazes me that so many things are free on the internet. Anyway, sometimes the commentators, they talk such rubbish, don't they? It would be ridiculous to be paying them $10 for that sort of rubbish.
No, but some of the broadcasts made by the national federations, it's not made for the top players. It's made because they are playing in the tournament already. But the players from low to high level that were to the federation, they now get the chance to see the national top players and have good commentators to explain. Not explanations on high level, but explanations where you tell about what the conventions are and so on. Not just the name, but give detailed information. That's a benefit for all the members of the federation who pay a lot of money to the federation. They get something back that way.
Anyway, just to interrupt, on this hand, declarer has no possibility now. We can see that looking at the hand. It may have been makeable with a very good spade guess, a good club guess, and playing for the queen of diamonds on side. I think it might have been possible to take 3 clubs, 2 diamonds, 2 spades, and 2 hearts. But I think it was probably required to duck the first heart to disrupt the communications. So one thing, if you don't take the first heart. You need to bank on getting the diamonds right, and I don't think low to the queen will work there either.
I just posted a link that Al Hollander sent to me, which allows you to see live view graph pictures from the very table that we're watching. It actually includes some sound which would come over me actually speaking, unless I can find some way of turning it off. I'll have a look.
So when we can, as I've talked before, I always like to think that if we do see a making line, why isn't declare picking this particular one? And at these high levels, it's usually because it's an inferior line, or because it's, it may or may not. If it's not inferior, it's because it's very, very difficult to see single dummy. The one I suggested requires the queen of diamonds, the king of diamonds on side, and guessing clubs correctly. Whereas I think playing for 3-3 diamonds, which is around about 30%, that you can take 4 diamond tricks, the top 2 hearts, and then hopefully by then you have a good counter in the hand to take the club finesse. 4 9 tricks.
Well, I couldn't find any way to watch the view graph pictures alongside without their speaking and noise intruding, and would therefore get in the way of my commentary, so I've had to switch that off. But it was pretty good. You could see all 4 players and the screen across, so it's worth taking, worth the kibitzers taking a look at that.
I suspect that there probably wasn't much downside to ducking the heart, and then maybe taking an early club finesse through the overcolor, and then playing the queen of diamonds to your hand. But I don't know. There are all sorts of entry problems and terrible suits and risks. So down to it for push seems quite reasonable as well.
On the bidding, as it started, there's a convention known as the responsive double, where South can make a double opposite his partner's takeout double. When it's gone 1 spade double, 2 spades, if you do double, you tend to deny 4 cards in the other major hearts, because you're expecting your partner to hold 4 cards there, and if you had hearts, you'd be willing to bid 3 or 4 hearts. So if South had not much more than what he does have, 8 points, and maybe 4-4 in the minors, then he would be able to make a double. Here he doesn't really have a bid. He's got 4 cards in spades and 3 3-card suits, so he couldn't really contemplate a responsive double.
Lars Anderson is making a comment in the text why this constitutes a 1 spade opening, but the previous hand, when West was 4-4-2-3 with the ace king of hearts, why that wasn't a 1 heart in third position. And I think part of the logic is that when you have a bit of a bad hand, you should get in with the major suit to preempt the opposition, but that when you actually have a good hand, it's better to play it straight and narrow, because you want to play constructively to possibly your major suit game, or 3 no trumps. So that's my suspicion. So will the declarer start on diamonds himself, or just exit passively with the club? Presumably after taking the ace queen of hearts.
In pot 27, you know, the 6 hearts, 6 no. In the match Italy, Poland, both teams stay out of the slam. In the Venice Cup, however, in the match there, just a minute.
I'm hoping Peter's going to return with some good news about England's fortunes on this board in the Venice Cup. On this board, the bidding was...
3-0 trumps on the previous board. The Italian declarer received a club lead, helping him with that suit, and so he actually came out with 9 tricks. Very nicely played.
You will anyway. Yes, so I might as well.
I think a diamond out for the end play. Very nice.
This is an example of what I mentioned, where Fantoni opens 1 no trump on 5-4-2-2 shape, because opening bids of a diamond or a heart would all show 14 up. Then on balanced hands in the 12-14 range, they tend to open 1 no trump on some shapes that most players wouldn't. In fact, with 4 hearts and 5 diamonds, a lot of players would open 1 no trump on that particular shape if in range, particularly if they were playing a strong no trump and had 16 points, because it's not strong enough to open a diamond and reverse into 2 hearts, and they still want to tell partner they've got a fairly balanced hand out in the range of the strong no trump. And Tony Nunes play a weak no trump, of course. Again, West 2 clubs shows the major suits, and Wolpert is not interested in making a game try on his moderate flat 10 count, just in case his partner is maximum, particularly as his partner is a passed hand here. Even if he wasn't, you can imagine that he might well just bid 2 spades, because a lot of these bids are designed just to shift declare out of 1 no trump, which is particularly important at match points. Playing match points, you normally score pretty well in 1 no trump, even if you go down.
I think especially as south is the past hand here, and north open at 12 to 14, or whatever. West is under some pressure to protect partner here. Although they do play penalty double, East could have up to say a good 14 count that just can't act over the weak no trump. Some players play that as a past hand doubles, which can no longer possibly be penalty, takes the place of the major bid, but not here.
It seems at the other table that North has upgraded his hand into a strong no trump. He opened one no trump, adding value for the 3 tens and the 2 very good 4 card hearts, 5 card diamonds. Opened a strong no trump on that hand, and South with the flat 9 count went straight to game, which is indeed the percentage action facing 15 to 17. Waste of time making game tries on that. The odds are in your favour to go straight to game, giving away less information. Same if you've got an 8 count with a 5 card suit. So we move to the last board of the set, which we must be honest to say has been relatively unspectacular compared with many of the sets that people who've been with this tournament for many days will have enjoyed in the past. Always worthwhile though watching these top players in the world tackle any sort of deal. Time has come to thank our wonderful view graph operator who's performed so well, and I mentioned yesterday that all the view graph operators are not drawn from around the world as they sometimes are for different tournaments. They've all been trained up by the host nation, Indonesia, and the view graph operators have been absolutely splendid throughout. And,
I expect that Cognac would be disappointed when they find out that they are down 27-0 in this segment. They have played very good bridge the whole way out, but up against strong opposition.
Right. Anyway, I was just going to say that we'd all like to thank them and congratulate them on their excellent performance. And even though the hands have been somewhat sort of disappointing, it's been great fun for us all to commentate on them, and I've enjoyed, as always, working with Jan and Peter.
Thank you, gentlemen. And the next one will start in about 50 minutes or so, maybe an hour. And I'll be continuing there. Hope to see some of you around.
Yes, I may take a look at the England women's team that is doing so well. I'd certainly like to watch one of their sets. They're playing China. So on this sort of lead, it's normal to play the honour from the doubleton in dummy, because even though you don't quite know where the ace is, you're not going to make the king unless the ace is on side. If you play low and North does happen to have the ace, he's not going to play that on nothing. He'll play his second best card and keep the ace to deal with the king nearly always. They play pretty quickly on these relatively easy boards, so we're going to have quite a wait. The start time is published as being 10:20 for the next set, but it's usually any time between 10:20 10:30. Timekeeping's been good, so no one has overrun to interfere with the next start time, because they allow plenty of time for scoring up and for everyone to have a break and a coffee in between the sets.
The king of spades is a standard play, but as I see, declares short of entries in his hand, so he needs the king of clubs to be in south. So if he let the spade run to his queen, finesse in clubs, then he could unblock the diamond king, go to his hand on the ace of hearts, and have 9 tricks. Taking the king of spade, he has made it very difficult for himself.
Is that right? I mean, if the spades are 4-4, he can afford to lose a club trick, can he? As long as he can make 4 tricks outside clubs plus 5 more in clubs.
Very nice queen of clubs there.
So USA will come on the scoreboard, and they deserve that.
By East West.
Yes, at the other table, East bid only 1 no trump on the second round. The club, a dame and a heart, 1 no trump, which is a bit of a match point call, perhaps. And his partner signed off in 2 clubs. Right, thanks for watching, and I can almost guarantee that the next set will be more exciting than this one was.